Okay, this is going to be a quick stream about what I want to do with this channel and where I want to head with my videos and stuff like that. At the moment I'm doing bits of Unity, learning Unity. I'm using the Visual Studio IDE. I do kind of C programming in general. I am playing about with learning Rust. I do C++. Might end up doing a few HTML stuff, depending on what I do. I mean, I might even do like the whole go through the W3 schools thing and go through the HTML, the CSS, the JavaScript, the SQL, PHP, the Bootstrap, the jQuery, the Angular, and all that. I don't know yet. This is all a case of the channel's kind of evolving. It started off as I wanted to do a few Rust things and learn some Rust. Now what it ended up being was I shoved loads of time into installing Rust in different ways on different operating systems, different computers. I learned as many ways as I could think of to set up a Rust development environment. At the moment my current development environment sort of let's just go dev Rust is currently here. It's on Windows with a nightly install of Rust, and the editor I'm currently using for Rust is Visual Studio Code. I could technically use the fully fledged Visual Studio for this, but it doesn't quite feel like it needs to. I can use folders as my projects in this, and it allows me to kind of have some code completion and syntax highlighting anyway in here. So this does fine for it at the moment. Let's close that. So for this we're using Cargo. Let's have a look at the version. I can't remember which. Should be the nightly 1.2 something, I think, maybe. Guessing. Don't know. Did you mean back? Oh, I said very on. Yes, I did mean version. 0.25 apparently nightly. We're at 1.2 something on the actual Rust compiler. So Rust C version, not very on apparently. Can't get the version by typing in very on apparently. It's awful. 1.24.0 nightly. So yeah, and it's on Windows 10. I'm currently using PowerShell as my shell, and I'm using Commander as my interface to get to the shell, sort of like a terminal emulator if you like. And basically I've got the Powerline fonts installed and a bit of a status sort of thing going on. That way when I what do I have in here? So when I'm actually in a Git repository, it kind of gives me a status of this and tells you how many changes there are or whatever, or what needs to be done. Git status. Basically it's moaning because there's one untracked file. So if I go git add dot, it's now a tracked file. So it hasn't got that sort of exclamation point there. So now if I do a git commit, doing some random commit on YouTube, I should really put just to be nice. There we go. Now it's all clean and it's done its thing. So I've been doing a series of Rust by example We've got like a few projects done of that. There's still a hell of a lot more to go on the Rust by example. So I think got like 20 more chapters, loads of sub chapters to do, and I think there's, let's say there's 3-4 exercises per chapter. So we're talking like 60, between 60 and 100 sort of episodes I think are going to be coming out of that series. But I don't want to rush that series. I've already done like 4 or 5 videos today on that and output them. When I say videos, I'm doing them as live streams, so I'm literally not particularly planning on those things. Right now I've got an overall abstract plan of what I want to do. With this channel I want to continue with the Rust by example. I want to finish that, but while I'm doing that I also want to do other videos, so it kind of breaks it up, so we're not just doing the one thing all the time. Again, I'd like you to comment and let me know whether you want to see more Unity or whether you want to see more just general Visual Studio. So I'll be doing like C#, VB.NET, C++, and maybe a bit of other stuff in there. Might do a bit of Cordova stuff and make some apps. I don't know. Don't really do that much JavaScript, to be honest, so that'll be something interesting. Then C programming, if you want to see any C programming stuff, just let me know. 1 second, I'm just going to get the door. Sorry about that. We've got the little niece and nephew here, so we're kind of going to be going to the park with them in a bit. Anyway, back to what I was saying. Yeah, so C programming language. Let me know in the comments if you want to see more of these videos, because at the moment I don't know. I need some feedback to actually get some sort of direction. I know this is a Rust channel and we are going to continue with all the Rust series. It's just, it's a lot of one series, if you know what I mean. Need to break it up with a few different things. I am going to be doing other things, like maybe a few bits of live coding with Rust, maybe choose to port some C or C++ stuff into Rust, perhaps. That's another option. Yeah, so if I go through some of my C++ stuff and actually go, okay, will this work in Rust, and how well will it work in Rust, and what do I need to do to make it work in Rust, and things like that. Also some HTML stuff. Again, I may actually start a new channel with HTML, but at the moment I'm just sectioning out this channel, but we'll see. I'll post more stuff on different sorts of subjects. I might granulate this and turn it into multiple channels, like Deca does W3 Schools or something, I don't know. It's just at the moment I'm doing them as series so that I can kind of just get bits and pieces sorted. So I need some feedback from you guys. Could do with some help here as to what you want to see. If you want me to granularize this into separate series, and so you can just watch the playlists, what you want to see, let me know about that as well, because that seems the sensible thing for me for the moment. I may decide, like I said, on making a Deca Does Unity channel or something, I don't know. Deca Does C, I think I already own that channel. I haven't actually done anything on it, I don't believe. I'll have to mess about and kind of figure out what I want to do on that. The Deca Does Rust is this particular channel, so that this will be primarily Rust from now on. I will be again doing Unity stuff on here now and then and other things, but mostly so that they can well, Unity's not going to be in Rust. That's C#. I'll be using that. But ideas and implementations of things, like games, are done in Unity for now. I may start doing games in Rust. I don't know whether there's any decent Rust game engines out there, or whether I'd have to write one. Now, the fact that I don't really know Rust to a competent level, as far as I'm concerned, means that I couldn't just write a game engine right now in Rust. I would have to research and do a load of other things, so I don't really have the time to put into that as a project, so I'd need to do some smaller projects in Rust first. That's why I'm going through this Decadoes Rust by example at the moment, because literally I believe it's got a good set of examples, and it will be a good little learning process. I'm getting a little bit bored of it, to be honest. That's why I'm sort of breaking it up in with other things. I can see if I don't do other things as well, I know for a fact I'm going to get bored with it, and it's just going to fizzle out, and I'm not going to complete it. Simple as. So the fact that Rust is a lot different, well, I'm saying a lot different, there's a lot of different aspects to Rust than in syntax wise, and how it's set out and how it deals with things, versus programming in C or C++ or assembly. And basically it's something different to what I'm used to, so it's outside my comfort zone. It's not something I enjoy that much, which is rather annoying, because usually I enjoy most programming languages. I'm trying to give it a chance and trying to let it grow on me. Sometimes I find myself trying to write a C like set of things, and it doesn't, you know, I mean, match is quite alien to me still. I did the guessing game thing, that kind of instilled a little bit of match correctness within me, but there's still a long way to go. I think I'm going to wrap up this video here. I'll possibly start on something in a while, just to kind of get something else out there. I'm trying to get as much done as I can within a short period of time, because I got quite a few things to do, and I probably won't be able to do much more today. I'm going to try and fit in as much as I can. And what I'll do is I'll probably pop over to the park with the kids and step away from the computer for a bit. Then I'll come back to the computer fresh and sort of get started on something. It's going to be quite a random one. Against the whole live format of doing things. I'm just trying to think. It's really there's that many different topics of content that could be done. It's hard to kind of grasp and stick to one thing. I'm not really a game maker, but I enjoy Unity. It's nice. It intrigues me how we have the front end of the interface, and we're able to do sort of public variables and use them within the interface to manually do. I've never really been a graphic person. I don't, but I've done graphic for work. I've done things like that. I've done a lot of other things, but I do tend to stick more towards back end stuff that people do not see. So game creation is quite a different thing for me. It's still making games actually still does feel a lot like just normal database programming when you're actually doing the back end, because it's just lots and lots of state machine stuff. It's sort of playing with variables, working with lots of data in the back end, and then the graphics is dealt with mostly by the actual engine itself. That's why creating engines actually interests me in a way, but the actual creation of the games perhaps not so much. It's something maybe I wouldn't particularly want to do as a job, purely because once it gets formalized, you'll find that in a job you're not actually doing the whole overall aspect of every bit of the game. You're literally doing one little tiny thing. So if you're a programmer, you're not actually doing any design. All you're doing is you're sitting there, you're getting past a programming job to do, and then you'll do that part of it. You won't be doing that much creativity. Your creativity would have to be stemming from, how can I explain that? I'm trying to think of the words to actually say this. Your creativity would be more stemming from the fact that you're utilizing a different or more optimized code than not. That's all I could say for that, really. Whereas if you were a designer, it's a lot different to what people think. If you're designing games, you're not usually designing games in the way that your general person who plays games thinks of designing games. When usually a game player thinks of designing a game, they think more towards, usually, I'm kind of generalizing here, they think more towards, okay, I'm going to design a game. To do that, I'm going to draw out some stuff. Oh, I know, we could have this in it. Okay, that's great. Let's draw a level and do this and do that. That's not necessarily the workflow for designing a game in industry, because that would be more a design document. So you get a general feature set, you'd get an idea of the abstract of the game and what you want put into the game as a whole, and demographics of the people who are going to be playing it, the type of genre it would be, and the possibilities of the actual standardization of it. So then that design document will evolve over time, and that design document would then go to, say, the project manager, who would then go, okay, here's what we've got to do, and then he would hand off, say, the graphics to one set of people. There'd be like another set of people who would be doing another aspect of it. So it's a lot different when you just go, okay, I want to make a game. If you're a single independent developer, you are dealing with the graphic design, you're dealing with the actual design document, you're dealing with the ins and outs of the engine, you're dealing with all the bits and all the different aspects, which is a lot different to working in a company doing it. So a lot of people want to go and do game making, but they just think it's grab Unity and make a game. In the independent sort of industry, that can be true, but the problem arises then when you want to scale up and make a larger scale thing. I mean, there's a lot of good games that have came out of independent development, but as a singular person, you may not have all of the qualities required to make the whole game and polish it and make it really nice, and also have a good storyline, and also have good creative writing, so you can actually do the design document if you do need to scale it up. And so you know, there's a lot of aspects that are in there that I personally wouldn't really necessarily want to do. So having it as a little hobby and playing about making games, that's great. I don't really play games enough to be an actual serious game maker. But yeah, the data behind it and the actual logic is great. It's something to interest me in a hobby-based thing, and I do enjoy making videos. I enjoy rambling on about stuff as well. I think this 10-minute video has turned into like a 20-minute video of me just rambling about one subject now. So, you know, we can move on to a different subject. I can actually just literally ramble in live chat if people want to see that at any point. I mean, I'm happy to do that. I have plenty of opinions on plenty of different subjects that may or may not conflict with other people's opinions on them, and that's fine. Everybody's entitled to their opinions on these things. It's like if we had the whole argument of what's the best language. I think everybody's got some sort of opinion upon that, whether you're a programmer or not. To me, the best language is the one which you know. Purely on the basis that if you don't know a language, then you've got to learn it, which isn't necessarily a problem. It's just a bit more of a time consumption than not. But then again, certain programming languages are suited better to certain projects. So again, the best programming language then in that caveat would be the language what you know or that you're more familiar with that suits that project at that point in time. Industry wise, we use C, C++, things like that, which are great. Rust is becoming a lot more of a serious language, and it is a very good systems language from what I've heard. I have not used it in any serious projects at all because I don't actually know it well enough to do so. I've used C in more serious type stuff. I've used C++ in more serious type stuff. I've also used assembly, which was my original language of choice in the 68K Motorola processors and things like that, and the 6502s and stuff like that. For x86, I know a okay bit of assembly, not loads. I do gas type assembly at times, sometimes Intel based, depending on what I'm doing. I do the odd bit of inline assembly in C and C++. A lot of the times nowadays with optimizing compilers and stuff, you can get away without doing assembly in a lot of these things. But if you want to make a boot sector, you're writing in assembly pretty much. That is, you know, you'll make your boot sector or bootloaders, and you'll make some sort of a base kernel startup, and then you'll load the rest of your kernel either in a higher level language like C or C++. I believe there are some operating systems made in Rust now, and there's even like JavaScript based operating systems and stuff out there. So operating systems have gone a bit out there now. I remember when C was the thing. If you want to make an operating system, you wrote in C and assembly. That's basically what you did. Now there's like C++ kernels out there. There's Java based kernels. There's all sorts. There's lots of different things. So when we say what is the best language, we have to be very subjective and have to granulate it into different sections of best language for what. I mean, so there's all sorts of aspects there. But I think I'm going to wrap this up because again, it was going to be a 10-minute thing. It's now at 24 minutes odd. Thanks for watching, those who are watching, and I'll see you in the next video, which could be about some random stuff, or it could be about one of the subjects what we spoke about here. Goodbye.